This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of the panel on lairmedia.tv. And good evening, Tony Browne, and welcome.
Okay, Pat, thank you.
It's a cold night out there, lads, so wrap up well. It's still the winter time. Don't be fooled by the wintry sun. You know, it doesn't do anything for them. And it's going to. The weather forecast is not great weather-wise.
Yeah.
And all the views and all the opinions that are expressed on this program are our own and nobody else's. And this program gives vent to free speech without fear or favour. Anyway, Tony, a few things have happened since we were on since last week. Well, lots have happened. We had the visit of our Taoiseach to present the bowl of shamrock to Donald Trump, the President of the United States, which he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
The only thing is, Trump I thought he was going to eat it.
Yeah, it was a big.
Did Trump think he could eat it, I wonder?
I don't know. I'm sure he saw a lot of clover around Doonbeg, and all the times he's been there, and whatever about shamrock, you know.
He was talking about Doonbeg. Actually, he said a few things that were inaccurate. He said that they refused him permission for 7 years. That's got to do with Ireland. That's an EU thing. That he wanted to build a wall around.
Of course, he got permission immediately from the local authority, which is Clare County Council and the Irish government. But the point he made was a correct one.
Yeah.
To take 5 to 7 years for it to go through the process in the EU. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's completely daft.
No, that's standard with lots of things. You can't just go in and build a wall up. I mean, that's wrong. You know, where he wanted to do it.
Well, there's coastal erosion happening around there, as you know.
Yeah.
And he made several attempts to do something which was environmentally friendly.
He didn't build a hotel. He bought that from somebody.
He invested all his money in that and built it up to the business that it is today, employing a good couple of hundred people from that area of County Clare where there was very little activity, you know. So it's complimenting on that.
But he didn't. I can't think of the original builders in that hotel.
Yeah.
Because he was lucky to be able to buy that with the money he had. They didn't have any money, and he just came along and jumped in at the time, you know.
Yeah.
So he no interest in Doonbeg anyway, you know.
Well, he was pointed out to him because he has a golf course set up in Scotland as well, which is not very far away anyway, you know.
Yeah, it's more affinity now with Scotland because his mother is from. Is she from the Shetland Islands or somewhere?
Yeah, she's from Scotland. Yeah, his mother is right. Yeah, also another thing happened. I don't know that people are aware of it or not, but the Gardaí are investigating on the Doonbeg golf course. There was a few holes vandalized yesterday, and yes, they were by the Palestinian support group. Now, obviously, if you're a supporter of the Palestinians, which is the terrorists that run Gaza, well, it's no surprise that you'll be into destruction because that's what they're into anyway. The Hamas themselves.
No. Do you know who did it?
Well, they do. Well, they will. They have a good idea. They support the Palestinian support groups. It's in the press. It's in the news thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, honest to goodness, you would think they'd find something else positive to do, you know. I don't know. It's all very strange.
If you want to protest, the things I do if I were protesting, I tell you, I wouldn't put a toot in some things I'd like to do, you know. Protest, you know. If you want to protest, I suppose you'll do it.
As well, today is the 13th of March, 2025. We're running up here to a bank holiday weekend in Ireland, the 17th of March, which is St. Patrick's Day. And, Tony, I'm just thinking, is it an excuse just for drinking and vomiting? Or what is it?
Well, I suppose it became bad for drinking for years, you know.
Yeah.
people kind of felt they had to wet the shamrock. I used to say years ago. We'll
Wet
wet the
the
shamrock
whistle. Yeah.
on St. Patrick's Day, and it became a kind of a. But first of all, on is it for what that's Monday? Saturday is famous for being the Ides of March, of course. When what's his name got helped us to murder him. It was a Brutus.
I know the poor old devil, Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar got helped us to give him an awful go no, you know.
Well, they made sure.
And he was told, it was in Moore's Almanac, he was told to watch out for the 15th of March, the Ides of March. But anyway, but St. Patrick, I did a documentary a few years ago. It's a pity they don't put it on again. I did a radio documentary on RTE.
Yeah.
It must be 10, 12 years ago now. And for all about St. Patrick.
Yes.
They played it on St. Patrick's Night. And we made it outside. Out in there was this girl from RTE, Donna Sullivan. She used to do all the stuff in the south.
Donna is from Cork.
Yeah, and she made it with me outside in above the top of Knockfearna, outside in near God in the little set in a minute, out near Foynes, Knockpatrick, I should say. What did I say? Knockfearna, Knockpatrick, on the top of the hill. Well, that's where St. Patrick is reputed. That went up, and he blessed Clare and Kerry from there, because he never went to either place. And he's reputed to have blessed, there's a fabulous view from up there outside Knockpatrick, right at the top of the hill. And there's a holy well there to him, and there's a statue of this man in green. Although we don't know, did he ever wear green or not? And he certainly didn't go around with a big hat in him anyway.
No.
And then I said, how did he get round? He's supposed to have visited so many places that he must have had roller skates to get to some of the places, You
never know what stranger things have happened.
He went to the donkey. The donkey wasn't there at that time. I can't think what year the donkey came in. I think the donkey didn't come in till 1100 or something. But like that, there was a holy man, we know that, and he did leave writings that it's hard to believe that they survived.
Yeah.
There was a man, Patrius, who came from, like the story is basically true about him being a slave and above enslavement. There's lots of things associated with him that are true. But then there's a few little things put in, like the snakes, for example. There were never snakes in Ireland. That's how we get the story of him banishing all the snakes. The thing of the shamrock, it's just a little bit, nobody knows when the shamrock actually was discovered. St. Patrick, we know. I don't think he ever held it up and said, we were taught to the Blessed Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. But really, a bit different from clover. It grows better in Ireland than clover does, shamrock does. So that's how that became. Again, this has been lost in mist of time, who came up with the idea of the shamrock. True,
very true.
It's a great feast, I suppose, and he's reputed to be buried. I went up to see where he's supposed to be buried, above in Downpatrick. There's a huge slab on the ground that you can see that is supposed to be the burial place of St. Patrick. It's now the Church of Ireland in Downpatrick, and of course he was out. He founded one of his first church out in Saul. It's a lovely little church out in Saul, on the shores of Strangford Lough.
Yeah.
So, I was up there. But there are lots of things associated with St. Patrick.
He was a Welshman.
He was. That's often they're supposed to have been taken as a slave, back. And then he brings, what's his name?
Nine of the 9 hostages. Yeah, I was going to say that's where we were told going to school. That was the whole storyline. Yeah.
Well, most of that is true as regards his writings now, the Confiteor. And also, there's a lovely hymn, of course, associated with him, which isn't sung properly, and it doesn't sound really well. Sometimes it is sung like, Christ before me, Christ beneath me, Christ behind me, Christ beside me. We used to sing it now when I was in the choir.
Hail glorious St. Patrick.
But that's a kind of a modern song, that is,
Yeah.
It's like, and people used to say, will you get me a job? My father is idle and he needs a few bob. People used to be putting wrong words into the song, But But like that, and then this, I mean, Patrick, the name kind of died out. And all the Patricks that were christened in the 1800s, they're not called after St. Patrick. They're called after Patrick Sarsfield, believe it or not. Because there were no Patricks there. If you check back in some of the old records, there's no Patricks there. It kind of died out till Patrick Sarsfield came along, and he was such a hero. People started calling their children Patrick after him, after St. Patrick, after Patrick Sarsfield. But like that, it's a great festival, I suppose. It's recognised all over the world. And of course, out in what's that island out in the West Indies, where they always have a St. Patrick's Day parade, in Mauritius.
Mauritius?
Yeah, where they have, where all the Irish were sent to sea as slaves. When Cromwell decided he'd send all the Irish from Connaught out to what he called the Barbados. He termed it the whole area as.
Yeah.
So he sent all the poor Irish out to the Barbados.
He did.
They're still alive and kicking out a lot of them with Irish names.
And Patrick, I'm Patrick myself. I never liked my name going up not because there was anything wrong with it, but people refer to me as Pachin, Paddy. You know, the Patrick, if you call Patrick of itself, is a nice name, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But Pachin, I couldn't stick it.
And it's a pity that people, that there's a kind of a term out there now where you get these clowns saying Paddy's Day. I mean, that's a stupid thing to be said, Paddy's Day.
That's right, I know. I mean,
they're trying to be hip, you know.
It's like a lot of things. It's totally commercialized now to the extent that people have no idea what they're celebrating.
No, so they said the parade now on Monday. When I was a child, the parade here in Limerick, it was packed with floats. See, we had all the industries at that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Matheson just have a beautiful float. Deary's biscuits below. They'd have and then I remember even Crops got into the thing when the first Crops came to Limerick in the 60s. They had a float.
Yeah.
I remember I could name the three girls that were up in the back of the float, but I won't. One of them was blonde, one of them was red-haired, and the other was a brunette. So there were three girls up in the float showing you how to work a mixer if you didn't know how to work a mixer, and showing you the weighing scales and all the products that Crops were making at the time.
Good idea.
But all those floats kind of doing right now. There's too many so there's people marching next Monday. They wouldn't have a bull's notion who St. Patrick was. They wouldn't know. They don't even know why you're wearing green, you know. And it's a pity, like, in that sense.
Well, it is. It is. I mean, I used to own a taxi one time, and it was one night I just never walk because of the fact that, you know, people will be full up, as Brendan Gray said. They be coming out of the pubs with their head up in the air in case it spill a drop. You know, they used to be so full. You know, so you couldn't walk that night. You know, it's a pity, really. You know.
But it was a break. It was a break in the year for It was the part of the year, you see, that people could put it, could go to the pubs outside of Lent.
Let your hair down, yeah.
Of Lent, you know, and dances were allowed as well. St. Patrick's weekend, so that bands could play the weekend. Well, they had 2 nights to play. You know, St. Patrick's Eve and St. Patrick's Night. Other than that, there was no dancing, you see. People forget that. You know, there was no dancing for the 7 weeks. Well, the release in 7 weeks, 6.5 weeks. You know.
We got an email. I meant to tell you. I must look it up again. I'll tell you. Way back a couple of weeks ago, and I kept the tune for her. I forget her name now, but she knows who she is, and when she be looking at this data. As you're talking about the bands playing at St. Patrick's, we played it before in the show, but I'm going to play it again. It's a song, and we'll tell you all about it when we're finished. So we'll take a suspect off for the song.
Today's teardrops and tomorrow's rainbows, and tomorrow's rainbows we will share, me and you. So dry your eyes, little girl, dry your eyes, and we're gonna see the skies are blue. Had a tough time getting started. Maybe you were just a little little downhearted, all you gotta do is count to 10. Baby, you'll be smiling when today's teardrops are tomorrow's rainbows, and tomorrow's rainbows we will share, me and you. So dry your eyes, little girl, dry your eyes, and we're gonna see the skies are blue. Today's teardrops are tomorrow's rainbows, and tomorrow's rainbows we will share, me and you. So dry your eyes, little girl, dry your eyes, and we're gonna see the skies are blue. Gonna be just love and gladness, don't wanna hear nothing but sadness. So come a little closer, come to me, I will be to kiss, just wait and see. Today's teardrops are tomorrow's rainbows, and tomorrow's rainbows we will share, me and you. So dry your eyes, little girl, dry your eyes, and we're gonna see the skies are blue. Yeah, we're gonna see the skies are blue.
There we are, the Donny Collins Show Band, produced in the Eamon Andrews Studios in 1967. That was not today or yesterday, you know. Who's the saxophone player on that? God almighty.
The saxophone player is Mick Fahey.
Yeah.
Mick Fahey, and that's Austin singing Austin Graham. And that's a name that has kind of changed over the years. When I was a child, there were all Grahams. Now they call it Graham. When what's his name became popular, Graham Nash.
Yeah.
Kind of changed the name Graham to Graham.
Oh, yeah.
But Austin Graham is singing there. And Austin isn't that long dead, you know. But most of the people in the band are dead. I think nearly all dead in that photograph there of Donny Collins. But
Yeah.
Donny had for years and years.
And they'd be all, where would Donny and the brother be buried now? They'd, I was in, I was trying to find out their graves, and might do a little documentary on them, and it'd be worthwhile.
Who on
You know?
Donny Collins?
Yeah?
Yeah, Donny was also director of Associated Ballrooms,
Yeah?
and they built their own ballrooms around. I remember one of the big ones that was outside Portlaoise. It was a hotel afterwards. I can't think of the name of it now. It's just beyond the old main road to Dublin, to Portlaoise. And he built that, and he got involved in, of course, in the Majestic in Mallow was one of theirs.
With Jack O'Rourke.
In Newcastle West. But they formed a company, and if you had your own hall, you kind of agreed to take their bands. There's an opposition to the Reynolds brothers, you see.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Jack O'Rourke was
Albert Reynolds.
he ran the one in Mallow, and what's his name, Joe Downs ran the one in Newcastle West. But they were all part of the Associated Ballroom. Actually, I remember they had their own program in RTE, the Associated Ballroom Show.
They had their they used to be quarter of an hour programs, remember?
Oh yeah, they were all part
And
of it.
they'd be all sponsored programs.
Although I think, I can't think that somebody had enough money to just have a half hour. I can't think of what a half hour they were all. Or I could tell you what days they were all on.
Maybe Dear Frankie.
Yeah, but can you tell me what day she was on? Do you remember? And what company she was representing?
The Jacobs. Was it Jacobs? Jacobs.
She was on. She was. I think she might have been one of the half-hour ones, and I was she quarter now because the Navy show used to come on there with Frank Kelly.
The problems you were about to hear may not be yours today, but they may be yours sometime.
Oh yeah, but she was very popular at the time.
She was, yeah.
What's her name used to write in the Sunday Press, Angela McNamara. And
yeah.
some of the letters were genuine. You know, Frankie Murray, and she wasn't like, nowadays fellas are making up. I was listening to a fella last week now on another local station, and he was making up requests, Goodo. I know he was, because he was making up for people that I know can't get the station, you know, because when I was in Arlo, I used to do that. I used to say, I want to play requests now for Jimmy, who's listening to us tonight in Melbourne, And somebody would say, "There's nobody listens to Melbourne." Yeah, but I said, "Why not? Everyone else is doing it. Why can't I do it?" You know.
Yeah.
I play a request for the woman in number 47, and maybe the fellow living in 46 will go up and tell her I played it. You know.
Yeah.
And there were funny old things you get away with on the radio.
I know, yeah. Joe Mack actually is the last of the Dixies to be alive. Actually, Joe Mack. I was saying about myself. I think he's 90 this year. 90. He's 89 or 90. You know.
He would be, you know.
He plays on a Sunday. I forget now the name of one of the local pubs in in Cork City.
Yeah.
Joe Mack. There's a session which form together, you know, that probably keeps them going, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But now, we were talking about the mayor of Limerick last week. I remember Tony
he produced a big document. I forgot to check it out. You can download this big document he produced. But I'd say I said last week, I say it again, if you went out and asked people in the street who the mayor is, they couldn't tell you. You know.
No.
They wouldn't know him anyway.
Now, as you know, John Moran is the first directly elected mayor of Limerick, and he was elected last June. My goodness, you know. Was it last June? Yeah.
Last June, yeah.
Last June he was elected.
Yeah.
John Moran, Ireland's first directly elected mayor. This is off the news, the RT website, has set out a number of priority projects to be supported under his first mayoral fund, in which he has, wait for it, €10 million to spend up to the end of this year. There you are now, 10 million. The fund is a new initiative that the mayor has brought in there. And I'll tell you now, I'll just now, in the mayoral fund, there is a focus on housing.
Yeah.
1.3 million will fund rapid build, smart homes and public land to reflect the slowness in which long-term housing is coming on stream in Limerick. I mean, we've been listening to government after government, Tony, God almighty, that they're going to build more houses and more houses and more houses.
Yeah.
2.4 million is being allocated to road test new housing initiatives, repurposing derelict houses in key towns like Abbeyfield along the Vienna House principles, which aim to build climate-friendly, affordable, energy-efficient homes. Well, they're all the buzzwords. The important thing is, will there be any houses built?
I don't know, we just have to wait and see. But like that, there's a lot of places that could build houses. But what is he doing? As you mentioned, traffic in that now, I wonder.
No, he's going to find a new use, for example, the old Royal Cinema on Cecil Street in the city centre is also specifically mentioned in his plans.
What's he going to do with it?
It doesn't say it. These are initiatives. He's going to find... I mean, what could be done with it?
What could be done with it? Well, when Seamus Flynn had it, he used to run, there were, what you call it, there were groups playing in there. Of course, we hadn't Dolan's that time now, but groups, and there were great programs in there at night, great bands played there. And it's a shame that it was very comfortable in there now at night. But of course, that faded out then, it did after a while for other reasons. But anyway, it's a shame that that's not been used, you know. And I mean, the other cinemas are gone. The Carlton is gone. The Grand Central is gone. The Savoy is gone. The City Theatre we were saying last week is gone.
Yes.
It's a shame. Even the Bell Table used to be a cinema again when I was a child.
They have a cinema club there, I think, on one night of the week or something. I don't know. It's one night of the week.
Well, where?
In the Bell Table.
That might be. There's a film club as well now. There might be them that run that.
Yeah, they're in there in the Bell Table. But like you said, there's no cinema in Limerick City now.
No.
There's one out in Dúrdial and one out in Innis Road.
No, out in Castletroy. There's one.
Is
there one in Innis Road? Is that? I didn't even know that.
The View Cinema.
Is that? the day will come. What I can see happening with all those cinemas is, now I don't know, but there'll be one person with a button, and they'll be able to press the button, and all the films will come on at the same time. It's in far away, you know.
Yes, that's true. That could happen.
And that person could even be in Dublin and just press a button, and all the cinemas would come on at the same time, the same
Yeah,
films, you know.
that's
But,
true.
because years ago you went into the picture, they ran the main feature, and some of the pictures ran 3 times in the day, and the follow up, as they call it, the B movie went twice. So they started off with the main feature, then they had the in between one, the main feature again, the in between one, and then they finished up with the main one. So if you went into the pictures at 6:30 or 7:15, you got the end of the big picture, you know, it was still running, and then you were in for the follow up, we'll call it, and then for the big. But then the Savoy changed that. The Savoy stopped and just showed both films twice a day.
I remember when Ben Hur came into the cinema. Ben Hur was a long film, you know, with Charlton Heston, and
Was
there
he?
used
Yeah.
there used to be an intermission, you know,
But
and
the same,
you
the
get
first
out and you
were
walk
long.
around.
We were brought from school to see the 10 Commandments.
Yeah,
It was another big long film. Cecil B. DeMille was the man.
yeah.
Well,
The
produced
Ten
that.
Commandments was Charlton Heston in that as well? Was it? I
I'm not
forget.
sure what's in there. So say, it could have been. He was in Ben Hur, anyways, you know.
Ben Hur was, I think, was a great film altogether. Very much underrated.
Commandments seemed to have gone down for about 14 days, you know, and many hours it went for, the 10 Commandments. But like that, you went in school and you were all marched in to see it because it had a religious aspect to it. And that's why you were brought to
That's
see
true.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments.
But the 10
It was
Commandments,
1956.
oh,
The Ten Commandments, 1956.
they're gone out the window, the 10 Commandments, I'm afraid, you know. Thou shalt not,
Well,
you know, and
yeah.
thou shalt
Oh,
not.
the Ten Commandments. I think the Ten Commandments was Yul Brynner, was it?
That's true, was he in that? Yes, I forget. I don't think he was. That was before he made it, as they called it, the King and One. Fellas used to be calling it. What's unbeknown by the King and One?
The King and I.
Oh, yeah, he was well able to dance, like, you know, jump, skipping around and that. But what's the name?
Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner, Anne Baxter, Edward G. Robinson, Yvonne Di Carlo, Deborah Paget, John Derrickson, Cedric Hadwick, Nina Fock, Martha Scott, Judith Anderson, and Vincent Price.
Oh, Vincent Price.
So there was 1956 was the origin, and it ran for I just took it up here. It ran for 220 minutes.
Oh, it would have been. That
Three,
seems longer.
3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, 3 hours. And then in the King and One, you had, what's her name? Fellas again called her. Deborah Carr was in it.
Yeah, Deborah.
Deborah Carr. Fellas didn't know what her name was. You know. Who was in there? Deborah Carr was in it. She's a lovely girl. But like that, people couldn't pronounce these fancy names that were coming out.
We'll have a laugh now, Tony, at one of my favourite comedians, and I say for one of yours too.
What?
We'll have a laugh now at one of our favourite comedians.
Excuse me, miss.
Oh, hello.
Are you looking for a game?
Well, it's very kind of you, but my fiancé is assistant professional here, and he's giving me lessons.
Jolly good.
Yes.
Has he given you one in a bunker yet? Or do you just have fun playing around with each other?
Oh, you are awful, but I like you.
You wouldn't get away with that today, you know.
That's the camera. Did he give you one in the bunker yet?
Be 1,001 complaints, you know, to try to do that.
That was
Actually,
very good.
I was watching, what's his name now, was on the other night in some program, Ricky Tomlinson.
Yeah.
He plays the banjo. You know, he was.
Oh, Ricky Tomlinson, the Royal Family.
Yeah, he's funny now. He's in some show in Dublin, He's very funny. But like that, the royal family would get away with it if they wouldn't be able to make it the way it was made before. Some of the comments that he often passed in that now wouldn't, wouldn't be accepted by a lot of people, you know.
I don't think so. No. You're watching the media. You're watching the panel with Tony Browne and myself. We're on here once a week, and if you want to join us any night, you're more than welcome. The details are there, email and our phone number, and press the red button to subscribe to our channel. There was water charges raised their head. Did you hear that during the week?
Which?
Water charges.
Oh, yeah.
Irish Water were floating the idea that they'd be.
That argument. In one sense, like you'll probably laugh now, listen to me saying this, but when you think about it, we should be paying for water in one sense. I mean, there's so much of it there, but then you've all the breakages and all the water that's pumping out of places. You know, although a friend of mine was telling me about a month ago that this fella arrived at his door, two fellas arrived, I should say, and they were in a van, and they said to him, hello, he said, we're from Ishka, Irish Water. And he said, yes. They said, you have a leak. He said, you're joking me. He said, a leak where? They said, there's a leak someplace in the front of your house. So he said, and where did you discover this? They were from Dublin. They discovered this in Dublin, the leak. Right? So they came down, and true enough, he did have a leak. Just near the drive of his house going in, they were able to take it up and fix the leak. The place, he said, was saturated underneath. He never knew there was a leak there. And the way these
yeah.
So you'd wonder, like, that they can. And the same thing happened to my daughter in her house. They discovered a leak in her house, but luckily for her, it was out in the front garden. And they took it up and fixed it as well. So you'd wonder, like, they are finding leaks. But then
Well, I mean, if they were given a massive budget, astronomical budget. There's astronomical money being earned by members of Ischia, and it's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And their main function was to make sure that we had fresh, clean drinking water and to stop the leaks.
Oh, yeah.
They know where they are. They know the infrastructure is all well worn.
They made one big mistake, I think, anyway. What happened was that at the beginning, the new guys hadn't a clue what they were looking for. I know that. But who would have sacked and they got rid of all the local council fellas who could tell you.
The local knowledge.
Oh, they knew they could tell you if there was low pressure that is in Jimmy McCarthy's back garden or where it is. They knew the local fellas and they weren't kind of employed anymore with the new Ishka. They did away with a lot of county councils. I remember talking to a man up the country and he said that the local fellas were gone and they never contacted them to find out. Did they know where the connection was or where the leak was? And they're still on about taking the water from the Shannon. They still want to take and piping it up. Imagine it. I don't know. See, they're building houses in Dublin and building and building and building, and they've no infrastructure. There's no facilities really to go up on the train to Dublin and go through places like Adamstown and all these. There is houses and houses and houses. You wonder who's living in all these. There are hundreds of houses. To see it every time I go up, not only a couple of times in the year, there are more of them being built. And they're all, it's like getting back to the Pete Seeger, little boxes. You know, there's so many of them being built, and they're miles out from Dublin. I mean,
well, I remember a friend of mine now, he's passed away now, but I was up visiting him one weekend in Dublin. And we were talking about it. He took me out to a housing estate between Dundrum and Dunleary. That's the best way I put it. It was off the beaten track. It was just completed. There was 29,000 houses built in this area. First of all, when we drove in around the estate about 10 o'clock at night, there was hardly a light on in any of the houses. They were in darkness.
yeah.
People walking to live. They were gone to bed because they were off to work at 5 or 6 in the morning.
It's funny, yeah. It's funny now when you talk about that on Tuesday night.
That's the first thing. Secondly, there was no shops, nothing in the only house. There was nothing in the area, nothing.
Hard to believe, that this day and age. Well, two of the biggest gripes I always had was, you're laughing now when I tell you this one, the two places that should be moved, which isn't going to happen, RTE and the Dáil. They should be in Athlone. The two things. What we do is, first of all, to be done with all the jobs for the boys from all the Dublin East fellas that are on, they'd have to go to live in Athlone, which they wouldn't like. And then if the Dáil was in Athlone, we'd have a new road network, because all the TDs would want good roads going to Athlone.
The road, yeah.
Why not, both of them are not, like Madrid, and Paris is a little bit up, but still it's fairly inland, whereas Madrid is right in the middle of Spain. And it's amazing that they should have moved out, built a new Dáil. Look at the employment to give, building a new Dáil system inside in Athlone, Like that. Everything is centred in Dublin. Too many houses up there. Too many, everything, everything is in Dublin. It's like the new Children's Hospital. People have to go to Dublin now for that. And
I was there. I was in Dublin. This is 3 weeks ago now, for the day, most of the day. And it is sad to see the decay and the state of Dublin City.
Terrible,
It is bad. I hate knocking our own. I hate putting down our own. But really and truly, it is very, very bad. It reminds me of London in the 1970s. Whereas you couldn't go down an alley you couldn't go off the main street or you'd be in trouble. It reminded me of that, and it is sad to see it. It is sad to see it because there's some fine architecture coming in the key there. There's some beautiful, but if you come in the Lewis from Euston Station, my God, the amount of terrible buildings on both sides. Look out, both sides of the Lewis, all the way in the key there. It's very run down, very run.
There doesn't seem to be anything done about it, and they're complaining about this and complaining about that. And
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
You kind of wonder, and then people are voting for these people, and you get the politicians you vote for, and they're waffling away. Most of them are waffling about nothing. They've been interviewed. The only one I'd give was Vincent Browne would always make sure they answer the question, whereas they'll just waffle away. Well, that's the training they get, And I remember a politician in Limerick when he was elected. He's about 2 weeks later, he was going to go up before the Dáil. He was sent out to what was at the time Bunny Carl's communications. They're all sent there, Lots of them are sent to Bunny Carl. Well, it's now owned by what's her name, Terry Prone. She's also on there. He's on everything but the Angelus. Anton Savage.
Anton Savage, yeah.
He could be, as I said, it's amazing he's not on doing the Angelus, ringing the bell.
Yeah.
But they're sent out to her school of etiquette.
The communications clinic.
The communications clinic, yeah. And they're all sent out to her to learn how to speak properly. Now, there's one or two of them in the Dáil. They obviously didn't go to the classes, because they can't put two words together.
I would say, Tony, there's more than one or two.
Oh, there is. There's some of them.
Yeah.
Dreadful speakers. You imagine they kind of know better, No, there's some of them, and like that, they can't put two words together. And there's some fine speakers now in the Dáil as well. Your man, Pierce Doherty, he's well able to talk. And I like this, and
off the cuff.
Oh, good. And it's great to see a fella talking without notes. I hate to see people with notes and reading out stuff. Like Micheál Martin reading out a speech that he didn't write. He didn't write it, because he's looking at it and he's trying to figure out words, Oh, God, it's awful,
What? Yeah, can we better if it's on the radio.
It's dreadful. One of the worst speakers ever is gone, I think. What's his name from Cork? Coveney. Simon Coveney. He was a great man for That anyone uses and are not concentrating on what they're saying. It's a stalling tactic to think of the next
Well, it's
phrase.
lack of concentration. You've lost your train of thought, you know.
Oh,
But
it
it
is.
is. I mean, myself and Mary were on KRFM this morning. We were, and put it in your diary now, listeners. Friday, the 21st of March, from 9:30, the AirMed Mental Health Conference is on in the Hope Cafe in Smithstown in Shannon. Be Gilling, be there. And you'll get a cup of tea and coffee, and there'll be a light lunch as well for you. So be there and, come along and be inspired, you know. Anyway, we were
What?
on, we were on,
No, and just what's it for again? You say.
it's AirMed Mental Health and Wellbeing Conference. So it's to raise awareness of what's available to people who may need it today, tomorrow, who knows. Every one of us is tested in our lives, whether it's with depression, loneliness, or whatever it is. And County Clare, unfortunately, has the highest rate of suicide per capita than any other place at the moment in the country. So it is a serious crisis, you know. And what we aim to do is to set up a 24-hour drop-in, fully serviced facility for people to come along if they're not feeling great. Come along and meet a counsellor and sit down and chat and have a cup of tea. And
Is that not what the Samaritans are doing?
I don't know. There's nothing in Shannon anyway.
Is it?
I live here. You know, I live here, so there's nothing there at the moment. You know.
And what about
And
the Muslims? They do one thing about it. What about the TDs from Clare?
well, I mean, I brought it up when I was going on before, but it's like most things, there doesn't seem to be any votes in it, to say the least. But anyway,
Who
we'll
the
see.
TDs? Is Tom Dooley one? Is he? Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Is he
Well,
one?
the four city TDs at the moment are Timmy Dooley, Cathal Crowe,
Yeah.
Fianna Fáil, Donna Marie McGettigan, and I don't know if I forget the name of the Fine Gael guy now, you know.
Yeah.
But there's four TDs in County Clare. There's two Fianna Fáil, one Fine Gael, and one Sinn Féin. So,
They're not interested in doing anything about that.
well, Timmy Dooley himself is now appointed a junior minister, and he's opening our conference on Friday the 21st, you know,
Yeah.
and we'll be able to have a chat with him then as well, you know. And well, I know Timmy, he knows me, he knows who I am, but you'd never know. I mean, let me go back a minute, and we don't like slagging off people. We're not slagging off people. We like to think we're making constructive criticism. In the budget, like it every year, they've allocated, we'll say, 20 million for mental health, right? Now, allocating 20 million for mental health means nothing to my neighbour who's in serious crisis. He has nowhere to go. No, it's no point in coming down to you, Tony, and here's your new car, Tony. Tony Browne has no driving license to drive the car, and he doesn't know how to drive it. It's the same as allocating 20 million to mental health. If the mechanisms and the infrastructure isn't there to deliver that money on the ground where it's needed, it's just paying lip service to the thing, you know. I don't want to go on about it, but I mean, KRFM did a good job. We were on KRFM, and you were talking about media training. I'm used to being behind a microphone, so it would be there was another fella there, you're going in, but you're very nervous, and you know, when you're used to it, you don't get nervous. You can be relaxed and talk. Because people are good. Actually, funny thing is, Patsy Pearl was on KRFM this morning as well. Patsy,
Yeah.
talking about his book.
Yeah.
Swimming
Upstream.
Yeah, and talking about the book, and I'm delighted it's successful because Patsy's a good skin. We know Patsy well; he's a friend of the program here. But after us, Alan was going interviewing Daniel O'Donnell.
Daniel O'Donnell.
Yeah, Daniel O'Donnell. Yeah, and he was interviewing him. You know, he's knocking around the while now. You know,
Knock it down, he is.
he's knocking around the while now.
Cussing as usual, we say, Daniel.
Well, Danny, he'd be our age, would he? Would he be our vintage?
Knock it down, he is. I just think how he started. He played with in Margot's band. He was a player in the band, and of course Margot had a problem. She wasn't showing up half the time, and
Yeah.
that's how he took over. He started going out singing out front.
All right.
That's how he started singing out the front, and then he been so nice, nice to everyone, Well, does he ever curse? I wonder, does he ever get a pen?
I'd say he would. I'd say he would. I don't know. I don't know.
Because he's too nice to everyone, as far as I'm concerned anyway, does he ever give out or anything, But
Yeah.
anyway, but he had a place about, well, I didn't go in, but I had a crowd with me in a bus, and we were up in Dunlow, and I had a kind of a museum to him upstairs in this kind of, was it a hotel or a restaurant? I forget. Anyway, we were in there anyway, and a few said they'd go up and see. They had, whatever her name is she Marguerite, he's married to her. They had her wedding dress up there anyway, and a few photos of Daniel and everyone else upstairs. I think we had to pay either €4 or €5 to go in, because he lives out in, we were shown then, the driver showed us where he was living, out in Kincastle.
Yeah.
He's living. But anyway, I haven't much interest now, Daniel.
Isn't there a museum to Boy the Gallagher up there somewhere?
Well, I don't know, I never had the museum to her now. She was from up in the very top, up near,
It is.
where she's from, Creeslough, cutting the corn in Creeslough.
Creeslough, yeah.
Yeah, that's where she's from. That's the Percy Fringe town, cutting the corn in
Right,
Creeslough.
she had a huge
Immigrant
career.
Slitter actually is the proper name for that town, the Immigrant Slitter. But anyway, I never had they might have a museum tour, but then these museums are only kind of,
Her son runs it, I think, yeah.
he runs it.
Yeah, all the costumes she wore when performing and photographs and memorabilia and all of that,
Yeah.
Now we're going to have another, and we're going to break up the two of us here for a minute, and the details how you contact us at the bottom of the screen. We're going to take a bit of a laugh now, and all of you will recognize this one.
A waiter. A waiter.
Un momentito.
Some cheese and biscuits and a coffee, please.
Anything to follow?
I've ordered some cheese and a coffee.
Sir. Coffee, please, Cyril. Here we are, Mr. Carnegie. Polly, would you get the biscuits, please?
Here they are, Porter.
Cheddar, Danish blue, Edam.
A little Danish blue, please.
Certainly. Edam?
No, thank you.
Biscuits? Would you care for a rat? Just the biscuits then, please, Polly.
Black or white? Black or white?
Black, please. Is that it?
There we are. Here are the biscuits. Green crackers, digestives, Rivita. I'm afraid it's started to rain again.
I remember that one about the rat. They thought he was the inspector,
The hamster he thought he bought.
Yeah.
Especially the hamster.
Oh,
The man told him.
God. There was
The funny thing is,
there are simple ideas and funny as well. That's true. Simple ideas, but they don't make them like that anymore, as they say. They don't make them like that anymore. But the parade this year in Limerick is. I wasn't at it now last year. I was thinking going down to the one in Cork this year,
the which?
and the one in Cork City.
Yeah, where? Yeah.
They have a pretty good. They have a lot of floats in Cork. There's a lot of community groups get funding for it. A lot of the community groups, and they sometimes can have very good floats, in the parade. They make a huge
Sure do,
effort.
and then but just too many. Another thing I always objected to was the bands coming down playing and they're playing popular songs. They should be playing Irish airs and Irish tunes on St Patrick's Day, but they're not, unfortunately. And I wrote for a couple of years actually on the trot to the Limerick Leader about that. I said I didn't know whether I was in America at the parade or in Ireland. Where was I? That
Oh
between
yeah,
the razzmatazz like Americans,
like Bourbon Street or stuff like that.
which
Yeah, Dixieland music, big
oh
band
yeah.
music.
But
Yeah,
but anyway, but like that, there's too much walking really, I suppose, put in, and then you have some floats, not floats, but you have vans, and you can have 4 or 5 vans in the one company, which is boring to see, when they're passing along. But there's a great way, cheap advertising to us for years and years for
it
some of the,
was.
yeah,
Well, they have one here in Shannon now. Will be Saturday at 1 o'clock
yeah,
in Shannon, and it's very well supported, I must say. They have one as well. I remember going to one in 6 Mile Bridge.
yeah.
That's on as
And
well.
most of
And
the towns and villages, yeah,
yeah,
have like
and they,
Rathkeelan or
they have a nice one up in Tulla. Actually, a pretty big one for the village up in Tulla as well. And
yeah.
they do very
Well,
well
they
there, I
try,
must say.
they try, and they
Yeah,
try to try. But then you see, well, really, what they're for children going to judo classes and dancing classes and all those kind of things, and
yeah.
children look forward to marching on the day, with all these parades.
Spotlight stage. Would they have one?
I don't think she had one this year. She
No.
had one. I think she kind of got sick of it. She told me before. Now I'm doing costumes at the moment now for the show, which won't be on till May, but I've already started fixing dresses the other day. Now I was putting straps on dresses, and it's taking me ages to do satin straps on.
What show are they doing?
I don't know what Spotlight said, what they're calling the show. She's on in May, but I think this is my 37th year making the costumes. You
Jeepers.
know,
Satin Humber song. Satin sheets, Humber song, satin sheets,
what's satin sheets?
satin
Well,
sheets.
satin sheets are too cold to get into now. Like satin sheets and all, they'll be
Yeah.
freezing. You can't beat flannel sheets getting into the bed. You know, and the satin sheets are too cold. They sound nice, but you'll be freezing. No,
Yeah.
terrible getting into the bed when it's cold. You need heat.
So or you could have the heat inside the bed before you went into it.
Well, you gotta what? I'd be afraid to sit in a bed with an electric blanket. Not to mind to get into a bed.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid of my life with an electric blanket in
Well,
case you
just,
go wrong to burn you. Yes, what happened if it went on fire? You don't know what I don't think.
no,
I don't.
not the modern ones. No, not the modern ones. No.
I wouldn't trust them anyway.
I
No,
don't.
no, no.
I don't have one. I'm hot enough. You see, I'm hot.
No,
So.
just make sure the plug's out before you sit in the bed. You can get a right roasting, and before you go down below with the fellow with the harness in his head, you'll be roasted, but like that you'd wonder. Anyway, but the country's in a bad state. What's going? Although the dollar is down again out today, I was watching this. The dollar is after going down a lot now the past week.
Well, they have an awful lot of gold in the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
America.
Oh yeah.
And then they have the Federal Reserve Bank in Manhattan, where there's some of the gold
Oh
held
yeah.
there as well, 5 stories below, down underground.
Yeah. What happens if there's a fire? How would you get it out?
What if there's a flood?
It's probably bringing up liquid, would you? You wonder. But like that, I was looking every day on Sky News. They bring out a thing at the bottom. You can see the prices. It's
Yeah,
constantly, and you see the pound was down a bit as well. And just out of curiosity, I'd be watching it.
yeah.
And that's how lots of people make money is in off currencies. The man was his Spyro, or what he was the first fella to do all that. And then JP McManus, I think, was doing much the same as well.
JP McManus did well in Cheltenham. He had a couple of winners today, you know. That's JP himself and the wife with him. And Cheltenham has been on since Tuesday.
A friend of mine had a horse on last Tuesday, and he didn't do well there. I got a call to watch it. Was I watching it? And I wasn't. Paddy Walden rang me and said, "You watching it?" Mike owns Shannon Transport, and Mike had a horse running the other day, but I didn't know. Paddy was on to tell me that he was, I don't know whether it was 15 to 1 or 408, or I don't know what he was talking about, but I watched it anyway. But the horse didn't win. Some fella from Cork won, McCarthy.
Well, McCarthy won that. That was the opening race, the Supreme Novice Hull, called after Michael O'Sullivan.
I never heard of that fella. Sullivan, who was he?
Well, Eugene O'Sullivan. Eugene would be his father, and Eugene Senior would be his great grandfather. I went to school with his father, but the O'Sullivan, he was only 24 when he died. He had a very, very, very bad fall in Thurles, and he was in a coma, in trouble for a week, and then he died and he passed away. But they called in Cheltenham the first race as the Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurl, and that was won by the guy that won it, the trainer of the horse, the owner of the horse that won it. He himself just got the R clear a week ago, from cancer. He had cancer in the kidney. It was taken away from him, and he got the R clear. Whereas he said in the interview after the race, he said, if I had to swim across the English Channel, I'd have swum across to be at Cheltenham, you know. And he's 4 sons with him. But there's a good, okay. But the amount of money that people have, they had to go to Cheltenham. So it's €100 to get in.
Imagine it.
€100 just to get in the gate.
I heard of a crowd of fellas gone out to Lanzarote. They've gone out, and it's cheaper to go to Lanzarote and to bet out there on the races. Can you imagine the stupidity of that?
But Cheltenham is £100 to go in for a start, and then it was £12 for a pint of stout in a plastic glass. £12.
If the towns are all stupid enough to do it, I wouldn't go to Cheltenham for somebody give me the money to go. I'm not interested in going to Cheltenham and going over like a fool and standing up. So that fella that won the race the other day, he was crying and all when the horse won.
Well, there was, because of the connection with Mike O'Sullivan.
They're trying to be like the English thing, wearing these hats that they're wearing when the trainers like to wear these kind of I can't think of the word we use for them. It's aping English.
Trilby hats, no?
Although I saw a fellow with a T-shirt the other day, I thought it was very funny. Let's make America nuts again. I thought it was very good on his T-shirt, you know.
Well, I think in the media, I mean, we should get a bit of proportion here, because in the United States, the coverage of the Taoiseach and Donald Trump hardly got anything in the media over in the United States, because it's not a big deal for them. I mean, we're a very tiny country. A lot of people don't even know where Ireland is in America.
But Trump said, the Irish, they voted for me. I'd like to be able to say to me, you're joking me, the Irish always vote Democrat. That's well known.
Well, they didn't this time.
But how did he know they voted for him?
Because 66% of the Irish American vote went to the Republicans. Yeah. That's how he knows. But anyway, what was I going to say? Fox News covered it very well, and
it's Murdoch's crowd, isn't it? He's well in with Rupert Murdoch.
One of the senior presenters on Fox News is Irish American Steve Ducey.
What is it?
Steve Ducey is his name. Ducey. Doocey. Steve Ducey is his name.
See, that's a corruption, some other name anyway.
And he was, there's Ducey's here in Shannon. There's a Ducey fan. Yeah, the Ducey's here in Shannon. Yeah, Ducey. And he said the Taoiseach, he had it perfect. The Taoiseach, Micheál Martin. And
called him, someone thought his name was Michelle Martin.
Who said that? RT said that, did they?
No, it wasn't LT. No, some of the Americans. No, so the Irish should know LT. No. Some of the American crowd called him Michel Martin. They thought
Yeah,
that Michel was his name.
that's the
But
way
he was afraid of Trump, that's sitting there. I wouldn't blame him really.
Huh?
He was kind of afraid of Trump because Trump is a real bully there, Oh, I'd love to meet Trump and tell him shut up and sit down,
No,
He's talking all rubbish.
it's all dumbass.
I tell you, Putin now is after giving his answer today. What's he going to do now? Putin.
No, I mean they'll have to go back and have several more meetings, but till eventually get sorted.
Yeah, sure. Since I was a child, the Americans and the Russians were always at the throats.
But to have to get sorted because firstly, Ukraine are running out of troops and Russia are as well. So they'll make a deal. That'll be the end of it.
They should. No, I'd send out the troops in NATO. They should have allowed Ukraine to be members of NATO and to put the window.
No, people forget, Tony. Ukraine before the war was considered one of the most corrupt countries in the world.
Yeah.
You couldn't have a country like that in NATO. You couldn't have it.
But to Putin, there's no right going in there. None. I mean, to see what they intimidated them, he built up the troops on the border for weeks. I mean, that was intimidation. That shouldn't have been allowed. And
Why did he do that?
Because he wanted to take, and he'd move next onto Moldova. He would. He wants to create what they had before. All these things they had. All these, what you call it.
I wouldn't think so.
Oh, I would. That's his next move now, is if he got away with it. Especially with, what's the other three countries up there? Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia.
Yeah.
They always wanted those, and they were always kind of fighting for them.
Well, they were a part of the old Soviet Union anyway,
But,
as we know, as Ukraine was as well.
Oh, it was, yeah.
But
sure. I should have stuck to his own country, Putin, and mind his own business. And
I think that.
I mean, I saw one of the houses that he has in St. Petersburg, and I mean, the estate that is up there, and he's worth billions. And you hear them all. What happened to all these oligarchs that were there? There was a fella in England. Do you remember he owned a football team? He kind of got out too, didn't he?
He was forced to sell Chelsea Football Club. Roman Abramovich.
Yeah, where is he now?
He's down in Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo? I thought he was in a home or something.
No, down in Monte Carlo enjoying his zillions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so he robbed Russia terribly, did. All the things, the corruption. The corruption under Putin there in America at the time, after Glasnost, was something terrible with all these oligarchs. They all came out in over. And it wasn't like that when before Glasnost happened. They were good little boys, minding their own business.
Well, you had a functioning with Gorbachev, and you had a functioning parliament, and a bit with Yeltsin in the first term, but after that it went to rack and ruin after that,
Oh, yeah.
But it's a country that I think there will be a settlement in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully the war will stop and things will improve for everyone when the war will stop,
Putin won't agree to that. So he said it today.
That's his first reply. But I wouldn't believe everything in detail in the news, around it.
But he's no experience either. He was only a KGB agent, and that's all he was. And he got around in a horse, closing him, all rubbish.
Well, he's 20 years in power now. I'm sure he's done a lot.
But there must be, and you're jailed, of course. There was a fella on the other night now, some programme, and he was jailed because he stood up to him. He stood up to Putin, and they jailed him. I mean, there's things you can't even do over there. That jail you straight away. I mean,
we have a teacher in jail in Ireland for not agreeing with something a teacher said to him.
No, but I can criticize me Hallmark if I want.
We have well now, Tony, you're not looking for a job. No, I'm not. But I'm just saying, Enoch Buck is in jail for hundreds of days for standing up for his principle. I mean, that is not justice. that's an awful stain in our country, I think, anyway, you know. You know?
But like that, we have great freedom in this country, which you don't have in Russia. I remember the guide we had. He told me things about Russia. The guide we had in St. Petersburg. It frightened me. You know, I wouldn't like to live there anyway. You know, you'd be afraid. They're all kind of spying on one another, and he's watching him, and he's watching him. There's something in their intellect in Russia that they have to feel that they're watching everyone. Stupid. You know, your man, the only best fellow was your man, Gorbachev. He tried to change it, but he got nowhere. Because your man didn't even go to his funeral, so Putin didn't even recognize him when he died.
No,
you know,
no.
really dreadful for all he did with Glasnost.
Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall. Remember that?
I do well, you know. But like that, you kind of wonder, you know. I don't know, look at Poland.
We've come to the end of another night, Tony, and hopefully we'll amuse you, we'll entertain you, and we'll challenge you. And we're here every Thursday night, and the details at the bottom of the screen. So until we enjoy your St. Patrick's weekend, and make it enjoyable for yourself, and make it enjoyable for everybody around you as well, you know. And just enjoy it, and hopefully the weather will be fine. So from Tony Browne and myself, till we meet again.
Yep.
Good night and take care.
This is Rare Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.